wasn't here last week because I had car issues. I went to the Grifties. I did the Grifties. I love the Hoteps. Did a little bit of comedy up there. On my way to the Grifties, I got pulled over by a police officer in New Jersey. And he was like, do you know why I pulled you over? I'm like, nope. And he was like, your registration is suspended. I'm like, you're kidding me. I had no idea. My insurance is fine. I paid for all the other dumb stuff. And he's like, I have to arrest you by law and impound your car. And he must have seen something on my face that was like, that's preposterous. He actually let me go. But he's like, if any state trooper pulls you over, you're not getting out of it. He was very nice, oddly enough. I have very rare experience, like good experiences with the police. I've been pulled over a lot throughout my life.
You have been pulled over a lot. It's like every other week with you.
A lot of issues with them. It's the CIA. They're on my tail constantly. But he was like, there's a new law. I'm like, well, what's that? He goes, Easy Pass and the DMV now work together.
Oh, sure.
And I didn't. So for people listen to the show, know I have a problem with technology, clearly. And like, I don't have a TV at home. I also don't have an Easy Pass. I usually just pay cash. And I always set my GPS to like no tolls. Like I just don't like going through tolls unless I really have to. Then I pay cash or I pay online later, right?
So instead of going 4 hours, you go 13 hours to Jersey.
Yes. It's a scenic route, Alex.
Yeah.
So what happened was I guess I missed two tolls from years ago that just didn't in Pennsylvania and in Massachusetts.
No.
I'm sorry, I'm being told that the link is not working.
Yeah. Are we not live?
Are we not live?
That's why
the link is pulling up private.
Oh, that's probably my bad.
We'll do this better.
Yeah.
We'll do this
Sorry,
better. No, it's okay.
I sent that link out, and
Good.
I'm
glad you did.
Feedback, and you said you're not seeing the
It's
chat.
my fault.
So
It's my fault. Okay, so we're going public. We should be public now. Let's see. Okay. Does that change anything?
Let me see.
Does it start it over?
Yep, we're good.
Are we live?
We're good. We're live.
But are we live from the beginning or live from like?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we'll go back into it.
But the link is working now. We are live. We're good.
If you're just now joining us,
wait, let's find out.
We're on the moon. which is fake, as is the show. You think they can hear back?
Oh my God. I don't know.
Well, if you didn't hear what I was saying, I was saying that I was just telling a story why I wasn't here last week, and I was pulled over, told my registration was suspended because Easy Pass now works at the DMV, and I had two tolls I missed, one in Pennsylvania, one in Massachusetts, and they can now suspend your license or your registration for that. So I'm like, then I was like, how did you know? You know, he's like, because I'm a Luddite, I'm a Neanderthal. His scanner can just scan any license plate on the road constantly. So it's just pinging like bing, bing, bing. Oh, man. So it's like Clearview AI for license plates. Okay. You know, like I hate Clearview AI, that facial recognition database that Teal funded that just scraped the internet of all your photos. They also had that for license plates. So I was basically stranded in New Jersey. Because I was thinking about risking driving back, knowing that now, like I probably wouldn't get out of being arrested on my way back to West Virginia. But we had the baby with us, our youngest.
Oh my God.
And Nancy was with us. And I'm like, if I'm going to get arrested, I'd just do it alone. You know, I don't want them to be roped into this thing because they wouldn't even be able to drive away with the car, right? They'd take the car if it got to that. They could arrest you for up to 10 days. So they say. And of course, it happened during the weekend, so I couldn't talk to DMV or Easy Pass to figure it out. So I had to wait till Monday.
Oh God.
And I ended up having to get a rental car because when I called, finally got through, you know, and like the DMV was created just to recruit for ISIS. Like every time I talk to these people, I feel like I'm changing my name to like Osama, you know? They're horrible, miserable people. I paid this extravagant fee that I cannot believe I had to pay.
You said this was in Jersey and it's a law just in Jersey, or is this like everywhere?
It's everywhere, I guess.
And if it's not everywhere right now, it will be everywhere very soon. Yeah. It's just
so I paid this thing, and right after the payment went through, they're like, "Oh, just by the way, this takes 72 hours to clear." I'm like, "So you can destroy my life like that?" You know, I never even got the notices in the mail or nothing.
Oh my God.
I had no idea. So that's why I ended up getting a rental car in Jersey to drive the family back.
Oh my
and then have to
God.
drive the rental car back after the thing cleared after 72 hours.
Oh my God.
So that was a lot of fun.
So when you initially said that you had car trouble, I assumed that it's like mechanical problems.
It was existential trouble.
Exactly. Well, I didn't anticipate that it was going to be like the total state has come down on you.
The surveillance state
Yes.
is in the highway, and there's no avoiding it.
So has this situation moved you closer in your political philosophy toward anarchy or not?
Every time I have to deal with this stuff, yeah.
Okay,
every
good.
time. But then I'm like,
that's all I want.
But then I'm like, I think tyrants always emerge from every system.
Sure.
So
sure.
no matter what, I'm gonna have to deal with this.
Well, we should talk about tyrants. Like I mean, there are good tyrants and bad tyrants.
Yeah, name a good one.
Bukele.
Right. And say why. And say why.
Because nobody knows what his political philosophy is. His philosophy is no more murder.
Right.
And he stamped out murder to the extent that now he's just like, okay, there's no more murder happening in my country now, so we're going to deal with drunk driving.
Right.
He was just like, okay, all right, so drink as much as you want. He actually gave a speech. He said, buy beer by the case because it's cheaper that way. Whoa. But do not drive drunk. Right. We will pull you over. We will put you in the most horrific prison you've ever imagined.
Right.
So that's the case of a good tyrant.
Yeah. Does he believe in Easy Pass?
I don't think they've got that level of technology yet. But we'll
you're
see.
selling this to me now. All of this sounds great.
But the key is a good tyrant. How do you guarantee a good tyrant? You can't.
Yeah, right. That's the problem I have with the whole technocracy thing that like Curtis Yarvin writes about.
Yeah.
Like I agree with that. I think he says stuff like the right doesn't exhibit force or power when they're actually in power, in quotes for those who are listening. So I get that, but his technocracy, his idea of a technocracy is like it's a corporation running the country with a CEO, president, and the corporations it consists of experts. But after living through COVID and lockdowns, we learned that experts don't exist.
Right.
Like obviously there's some out there, but experts always seem to rise to power. That it's like that, and they're antithetical to experts. They're not experts of anything. So it's like I don't trust the idea of experts either. Which is where like maybe there's another idea of anarchy that's without that type of level of control over me. Sure.
Well, Bukele isn't an expert. He's a leader.
Right.
Like if you ask to see his credentials, I don't know what they are. Like he started off as a very, governor or mayor of a very small area, and then he's fought enormously difficult battles to become the president and become the president again of that country.
Right.
Like, he tried to run for a second election, and the bureaucracy, the Supreme Court said, you can't do that. So he replaced the Supreme Court.
Wow.
Wow. And then he was just like, okay, well now I can be. You know, so like he doesn't have any expertise. There are no credentials attached to his name, but he actually has genuine leadership. Like he is one of the most unbelievable leaders of the modern era.
Do you think he'll just stay in power?
He said that he won't. I think his term ends in 2029.
Okay.
And at that point, I hope he hops on a boat, floats over here, and then declares himself president for 10 years, puts 3%, maybe 5% of our population in prison forever, starting with every politician except for Thomas Massey. Yeah. And then he governs like a real leader should govern. That would be great. That's the ideal circumstance.
Yeah, because it seems like someone like him would actually give us accountability.
Yes.
Like the thing I was most excited for Trump for, or the reason I voted for him, despite my reluctance because of the people around him, like Thiel and Vance, honestly. Sure. Even though he's impressive at talking, I'm skeptical because of his lineage from the technocrats, right? Like the Thiels and the Reid Hoffmans, and even though they don't like each other allegedly, but. I wanted accountability. I wanted these people to be punished. I don't really need. I'd rather see people in jail.
Yes.
Forever. You know, and we're not getting that.
But we're not getting that.
Yeah.
Cash Patel. We were just talking about this on the way over here. Cash Patel wrote a book, Government Gangsters.
Right.
There are gangsters and criminals.
Yes.
And what did he tweet last week? He said, if you see a Fed, hug them.
You know what that sounds like now that you just said it again? When
it's exhausting.
When Pelosi was telling people to hug Chinese people during lockdowns.
Yeah, nothing to see here.
If you see someone infected with the Wuhan virus, hug them. They need your love. That's the actual early vaccine was the hug. Yeah, I'm not hugging a Fed. I don't care. Like I get it, but like I wanted accountability.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's so upsetting.
But we have accountability at home. And it's
Exactly.
hug a Fed.
Yeah.
Hug a Fed.
I'm good,
Unbelievable.
and like Whitney Webb also has written books about how the mafia basically absorbed the government, maybe the vice versa, right? When they had Hoover under blackmail, and so they infiltrated the FBI immediately, right? So and that's just going on for decades.
Yeah.
And I get that they're slashing all this stuff, which is great. But a lot of the joy we're getting right now is abstract, and like the people we deserve actual accountability for these people, these insane people mutilating society. And I always was suspicious of actually getting any retribution.
Right.
But I think we need it. If they're willing to shut down the whole world for what went on 5 years ago, we should have equal amounts of punishment for these people who went along with it. So
that would be nice.
It's
Maybe
very
someday.
aggravating. But there's people out there who, that makes them squeamish.
Mm-hmm.
But
Sure.
I'm like, we had political prisoners. We had all these J6ers in prison for nothing, and BLM was running amok for the Summer of Love. And now here we are. Tesla is now the right's Israel. The new other Israel 2.0.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to focus on what happened 5 years ago real quick. Like, I want Nuremberg type trials for all these people. So I don't know much about what he's been doing down there with Bukele. But I know you're a fan.
Big fan.
Yeah.
I my admiration for him is so enormous.
Right.
Because that's why I've been saying, like, if I can't have anarchy, and I can't, because that's the most stark criticism you can aim at the anarchist political philosophy is that you can't live in Ancapistan in your head forever.
Right.
This is why all the libertarians are drooling. Like, they're just like they cannot function in society. Like when at the Libertarian Convention last May, when Trump got up there, he said, nominate me as president, and if you don't, then get your 2 to 3% like you get every 4 years, like a gangster. That was such a we were there together.
We were standing right next to each other,
Yeah.
and that was the first time I'd seen him in person.
Me too.
Deliver a speech, and I was very impressed because he's in that room, and half that room is booing him. And he fed off the booze. It was a lot of booze.
Like the corporate press said that it was like he got total booze. That was not the case.
No.
It was half and half.
It was because there's people next to us cheering and people next to us booing.
Exactly.
And he fed off the booze and BOOS, because that's funny. But we do have beer in house today.
Yes.
show
Oh
it
yeah.
off.
Yeah,
let's
It's a
back-
local beer
can we-
too. It's a Maryland beer.
Let's just back this up a little bit.
Oh yeah.
okay?
Do
we get off the rails already?
Do you think people heard the beginning?
No, I don't. Well, Rumble should be fine.
Okay.
I know
Okay.
Rumble was also a slight delay.
Yep.
My bad. YouTube also my bad. We had a late start coming here. Then we had audio issues. We are celebrating Shane's 40th birthday.
Thank you.
And
Right.
hence our party hats, which is our tinfoil hats.
Yep.
I also now have braces. So if I sound like a crazy person, I'm just throwing it out there. I'm getting ahead of the narrative.
Yeah, Alex actually, not only a tinfoil hat wasn't enough, she got tinfoil mouth.
Yes. I
know. Well, someone in the chat was like, do your tinfoil beanie hats work to repel evil or just look super cool? So that is why we're wearing them. But if you want to talk about the history
Give
of
us the
tinfoil
history
hats.
of the tinfoil hat.
Okay, so there was a fellow named Leonard Kyle, Kille, I think, and he was a brilliant engineer, but he had kind of like personality issues, psychological issues. He was actually, from what I've read, he was one half responsible for the Polaroid camera, the original Polaroid camera. I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes, and I might botch a few things. So I'm trying to draw on my memory here, and he basically was a test subject for a very early version of the Neuralink.
Okay.
So he basically had a very invasive surgery, had an implant in his brain that was an attempt to try to like deal with somebody that had behavioral issues. The behavioral issues got a little bit better, but he would also wind up like walking around in the parking lot in the middle of the night, like a grocery store parking lot. So like there were problems that were caused before the implant and problems caused after the implant. But he alleged that there were so many problems after the implant that he would put a garbage can over his head to block the radiation from coming into his brain and affecting his behavior. The people at the hospital that he was dealing with would basically just get a tinfoil hat.
Wow.
They said, don't put the garbage can on your head. We'll give you a tinfoil hat that's going to block the stuff. So the tinfoil hat, which is now associated with crazy, maybe not in 2025, but in recent memory.
Used to be taboo, but now it's high fashion.
Yeah, it's high fashion. That's great.
I mean, look at us.
Yeah, we look great.
I know. This is a very highfalutin
safe.
conversation.
Yeah.
We're in a good place here. So what had typically been like kind of an epithet for somebody that's just like, oh, well, you have a tinfoil hat time. The guy that inspired that was a guy that was literally using the tinfoil, because he was an engineer and he understood his stuff, to keep these things from coming into his head and making him act crazy.
Wow.
So the history of the tinfoil hat is not what we would assume. It's actually just speaks to the fact that there are malevolent forces out there that can control your thoughts and control your brain, and you have to keep them out.
Right. Yep. The Neuralink is right down the road.
Yeah.
Like, how are we going to block that? Like, people need to reject the Neuralink.
No, I'm just going to take it.
You are? Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
If Bukele says to take the Neuralink, Chris is going to be like, well, line me up. If it keeps me out of jail, sir.
Right.
Do you remember when that was?
I don't.
It's
I wish I did.
It's like a remote control lobotomy.
Yes, essentially.
And
Yeah.
were, that's the fear of moving forward with a population that accepts the Neuralink at large. What they can do with the social credit score and stuff like that. I wonder what happened to him. Do you have any idea?
Man, I really should have done a little bit more research into him before I came on today.
I want to look him up. Yeah. He's
Kyle.
OG of the tinfoil hat.
Leonard Kyle. Yeah.
Interesting. Can you look him up, actually?
Sure.
Watch it. All of it's fake.
Yeah, it's all
Chris
fake.
is just like, this is like late April Fools.
Who has been pioneering this like kind of revisionist history of this guy is Kurt Metzger, the comedian.
Yeah.
But he's getting a lot of his information from Control-Alt History.
Okay.
Who's doing a lot of revisionist history in his own right.
Interesting.
So he's digging that up. It was a video that I saw from Control-Alt History that Kurt Metzger shared.
Interesting.
But it seemed to be pretty legitimate and trustworthy.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.